my channel. I'm Bethany with Planning Creatively, and in today's video I am doing my 2020 bullet journal setup. Now I know this is a bit late, but I didn't actually get my journal until mid-January, and this is something that I've been thinking about doing for years now, and I'm not really sure why it's taken me so long to get into bullet journaling, because I love to doodle, I love to color, I love to be creative, and this just sounds like a community that I would love to get involved in and I feel very comfortable in. So honestly, I'm not sure why it's taken me so long, but 2020 seems like a good year to start. So that's what I'm doing. So the February setup is going to be a tad late. Me getting sick a few weeks back has set me back. And, you know, it's funny. You know how you can get sick for just a little bit, but it takes you like 5 times longer to catch up and get back into the rhythm of things again. Well, that's exactly what happened to me. I got sick, and I was sick for about half a week, and then it took me about a week to really fully recover. You know, you have those days where you feel okay but not 100%. Well, that was a long process for me. So I had to get caught up with house cleaning and work and everything like that, and stay on top of what, you know, my kids' practices and all that stuff. You know, it's just ongoing, never stop stuff, you know, life. So it's taken me quite a long time to get to this point. I actually wanted to start bullet journaling a whole lot sooner than I actually did, so it's pushing everything back. My blog suffered the worst. I actually have blog posts that I'm going to have to table for next year because it was January sensitive. So at least I got some ideas going into 2021. So, you know, silver lining on that, I will have to come up with less things to do for my blog next year. But bad thing is, I didn't really do a lot of blog this year. I actually didn't really do a heck of a lot with YouTube as much as I wanted to. But, you know, I don't want to rush into things. I don't want to hurry up these videos, because to me, if I do, the quality will come down, and I don't want that. So that's my reasoning for that, and I do apologize if things are going to be a little bit late, because they are. So I'm just trying to catch up, and that's exactly what I'm still continuing to do. So the main purpose of this bullet journal is not to future plan, because I've already got an everyday catch-all planner, which is a happy planner. And if you're curious about my 2020 planner lineup, I do have a video of that. Matter of fact, that's my very first video on this channel. I will link it down below for you if you want to, you know, head over and give that a little look-see. But the main reason why I've got this bullet journal is, okay, the main reason is because I want to, and it's just another creative outlet for me. I find it very therapeutic to do this. But I actually have a good reason to do this journal the way I'm going to. If you've seen my memory keeping, that is like memory keeping for the past week, or the past week and a half, or 2 weeks, however many times I have to do it, and kind of like backlog my memory keeping like scrapbookers do. And this one is kind of similar, except for memory keeping. I'm actually going to list all the things that I am doing that I actually did that week. Does that make sense? So I have my everyday planner, and I have well-intentioned plans to do the things that are set on specific days in my planner. But we all know how life likes to, you know, slap you in the face sometimes, and you get knocked off course a little bit for a few days. And then, you know, you kind of get off path, and then you have to find your way back. And then you're good to go until you get back off track again, and you have to find it again. You know what I mean? So this tracker, since I am really bad about time management, and I'm just going to be honest and upfront, I cannot time manage to save my life. I'm really bad about it. With my kids, it's like total different person. I can time manage their stuff perfectly, but when it comes to me personally, I can't do it with the darn. I don't know what it is. So you let me know if y'all feel the same way, or if y'all have ever been in that same boat as me here. let me know in the comments down below. I cannot be alone in this. There's no way I can be alone. Anyway, so this is a means for me to see where I'm spending my time. Now, right now, I'm spending a lot of time catching up on blog posts, videos, like filming and editing and all that stuff. And I'm trying my best to get this out in a timely manner, but things are, things are later than I wanted it. I think it's going to take me another week and a half to actually get back on track. And I actually had to table some stuff too, so, that's just how it goes. When I got sick, when I say I was sick, I was sick. I literally did nothing for about half a week. And it took me a long time to recover. You know how you can recover? You feel okay, but you're still not 100%, and you're only like doing like a quarter of the stuff, and then a couple days later you'll do about half of the stuff until you work up to being 100% again. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like where I'm at right now. So as far as time management goes, a lot of it is being dumped into catching up with my blog and YouTube, while also keeping on top of my house cleaning and stuff like that. Because I'm a housewife, I don't actually have a regular job yet. I'm considering looking for a job next month, and it's probably just going to be part-time, or we'll see how that goes. I don't really know how well it's going to be, because I've been a stay-at-home mom forever. For those of you who don't know, I have 2 teenagers. My son is autistic, and I have been a stay-at-home mom ever since he was born, and he's my oldest. He is 17, about to be 18. He'll be 18 next month, and my daughter, next month is 17. So both of my kids' birthdays are in March. And they're getting older, and even my son, his autism is very mild, thankfully. Even with his autism, he can do a lot. I've worked really hard with him to where my goal is so that he can be somewhat independent with very few like reminders to do things like bill paying. Further in the future when he's a lot older. So I'm continuing to work with him about responsibility and all that stuff, and every single year I tack on a couple more responsibilities for him, but I think he can cook almost as good as I can, if not a little bit better. So and that's something that he's aspiring to be, is a chef, and it's a shame that I can't really cook all that well, or else I'd teach him a little bit more. So he's going to have to rely on college to teach him how to cook better than what I know. I really don't know how to cook like a chef. I just cook like someone who's on a budget. That's how I cook. Anyway, oh my gosh, what is this video? I'm showing you my bullet journal, but talking about everything but my bullet journal. That is what's going on here. So let's switch gears and talk about this 20 before 20 business. Now, I have since subscribed to a whole lot of YouTube bullet journalers out there. I have been so inspired by very, very creative and awesome, amazing bullet journalers out there. I kept it simple for my 2020 setup. I love leaf details, and that's what I'm doing. That's where I got my inspiration, was because that's just something I really, really enjoy looking at. I love anything to do with leaves and stuff. I love the color green, although my favorite color is yellow, but I like green and yellow together too. So it's like one of my top favorite color combos out there. So this year, for my bullet journal, I want to be better with time management, as I had mentioned earlier, and I want to see where my time is going. But also, I want to practice my hand lettering with this. I also want to practice more on my doodling. I used to draw all the time when my kids were toddlers. they had their favorite cartoon shows, and for fun I would actually draw their favorite cartoon characters. And my son, he really loved that. He thought it was the coolest thing ever that I could draw his favorite Marvel characters. Back then he was huge into Spider-Man, so I couldn't tell you how many Spider-Man drawings I did for him, and he would keep them. Now this is a child who is like 2 years old, will make a mess of all of his toys, but those pieces of paper that I drew for him, he kept those things pristine, not a wrinkle in sight. If you were to touch his drawings back then, he would have went ballistic. So that's something that I did a lot back when my kids were very, very little, but as they got older, I didn't do that as often, and I haven't actually really drawn something in a very long time until recently, a few weeks back. I guess I was just inspired to draw something, and my son happened to walk by. He noticed that I was making some habit trackers. I have yearly habit trackers in my goal planner, and I was doodling a little bit on the little sides and stuff, and he noticed it, and he's like, "Oh, I bet you can't draw Goku." And I was like, "Well, I probably can draw Goku, but I can't guarantee his proportions will be great." And I actually did. I actually drew Goku for him. If you don't know who Goku is, he's an anime character from a show called Dragon Ball Super. I used to watch Dragon Ball. That was something that was on back when I was a preteen. I used to watch Dragon Ball and then Dragon Ball Z, and now there's Dragon Ball Super. So it's really funny how he's into something that I was into as a preteen, and now he's like really into it. And so that's something that we share, is our like for some animes and things like that. So I drew Goku, and it's funny. You can tell it's Goku, but his proportions were so terrible. But my son kept it anyway. I don't even know if he has it in his room still or not. I don't know. It was hilarious though. But that it sparked creativeness, my creativity. That's what I'm trying to say, in me. And that is when I started penciling in my bullet journal. It took me to draw that picture for me to get inspiration to continue drawing, because I missed it so much, and I had no idea how much I missed it. And I loved to draw cartoons. If I could have picked any job when I was younger, cartoonist would have been high on my list back then. I was the kid that entertained myself. Like, if my parents and grandparents were watching a show that was super boring and I didn't like it, and I didn't have a coloring book around, I would actually get out some paper, draw myself something, and then color it in. I would literally draw my own coloring pages. I loved to color in coloring books back then. If I got a coloring book and a big thing, a 64 pack of crayons back then, man, that was a good Christmas, good birthday. I mean, that was me back when I was a kid. And that's what I did, for entertainment purposes. Back then, I mean, I had Nintendo back then, but there was no cell phones or internet or anything like that. Matter of fact, I think I was a teenager before, I was 17 when I got my first cell phone, and my first bill was almost $300 because of roaming charges. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. Oh, I had to work so hard to pay that off. Okay, well, but yeah, that's just how things were back then for me. And bullet journaling is just right up my alley. It still boggles my brain why I've waited so long to get into this, because once I started, I couldn't stop, man. I did all of 2020, or all the 2020 setup pages and all of the February pages in one sitting. I kid you not, it took me all day, and I did a lot of erasing too. You ought to seen my desk. My husband's like, "What are you doing? What is that?" I was like, "Oh, it's just don't just overlook that. That's just a bunch of eraser shavings. Don't worry about that. I'll clean it off." I had to vacuum it up. It was so bad. Yeah, it took me forever to do the penciling part, and then it took me, like this video here, all the footage from this to make this video was almost 3.5 hours long, and I had to condense it so much. I wanted it to be under 30, and I accomplished that, thankfully. This is a long one, but there was just so much in this, and I wanted to show you all the process, well, except for the penciling. I didn't film the penciling because I was at my other desk for that. But I wanted to show you, everything except for me erasing everything. You didn't want to see the erasing after I pinned and colored everything in. You're talking about a lot of eraser shavings. That was extensive. So, yeah, I spared you from that one. And I apologize for, blowing through this video, not really talking about every single page, but the previous page I had movies and books, and my goal for this year is to read at least 20 books. That is actually not a whole lot. Last year, I think I only read about 8, and that is very unusual for me. I am actually an avid reader. I used to read anywhere between 1 and 4 books a month. I think my average one year was about 2 a month. And I think one year when I was younger, I think I read like a total of 56 books in a year. And that was when I was in high school. And I actually won an award for that. But, that's something else that I did if I didn't feel like drawing or coloring anything, I would sit down and read books all the time. I mean, we would go to the library, and I'd pick me out about 10 books back then, because that was as much as you could check out, and I would go home and practically read them all now this is when I was a kid, and I was still kind of reading like, thinner books. But as I got older, I would check out a lot of books, and back then I think we had a month to bring them back, if I'm not mistaken, especially if you had good standing with the library, and I did, and they always let me have extra time, especially if I was checking out a lot of books, because they knew I couldn't read them all in 1 month. But sometimes I surprised them. Sometimes I did read them all in a month, and I was bringing them back, and they were like, "There's no way you could read that." I was like, "Oh, I read them. I mean, what else am I going to do? There's only so many, back then there was only so many TV shows you can watch." So the TV shows, I have 20 listed. I'll admit, I do watch a lot of TV shows. Most of them are Netflix shows, and a couple of them are Amazon. And I'm sorry, I do get off at camera a little bit. This is me drawing within frame is very, very new. It's something that I'll have to get used to again. But yeah, like TV shows I watch, You is like the one that I think of when I'm like, as I'm speaking right now. You is just like forefront in my mind, and when the new season came out, I binged watched that. I've already finished it. Like, I think I binged watched it in like 3 days, if that. It might have been 2. I can't remember, but I could have done that in less time, but my husband wanted to watch it with me, so I had to work with his work schedule. So that's what happened there. But we binge watched that whole entire show, and it is amazing. If you have Netflix and you have not seen the first season of You need to go watch it. It's amazing. I loved it. It's funny. I mean, he's a total stalker, and that's wrong, but the way they just, it's just funny. You gotta see it. Let's see. There's a couple anime shows that I watch. I forget the names of them. It's funny. I'll sit there and watch these shows, and if you ask me what the name of the shows are, I'll be like, it's so weird. Because I just turn Netflix on, or I'll turn my Amazon Prime on, and it's just there. I don't really have to read anything. It's like the first thing, like especially if I found it and I start watching a little bit of it, it's just like forefront on there. And I can't remember the names of them. Now that, I mean, I don't remember the names. It's just me trying to spit them out right now is hard. Supernatural is a long-time favorite of mine. I will watch it until they cancel that thing. It's getting ridiculous now, but I will finish that show. I started loving the show, and then I'll finish loving the show, I'm sure. And there's a few other TV shows that I can't think of names right now, but I do watch quite a few. So list down below in the comment section what are you currently watching, like what shows are you currently watching, or what shows are you most excited to watch too. So if you have any suggestions, you know, feel free to leave that in the comment section as well. And the thing that I'm working on right now is my future log. And you will see when I break out the markers, I'm just doing the pen right now. When I break out the markers, I messed up royally. Like so bad. And I had to go and fix it. I'm like, darn. Of course I mess up on the next to last pages. Of course I do. But I in all honesty, I had been at it for a long time though. It took 3 different filming sessions to do this. I think I sat down for an hour each time. I didn't film it all in one go. I had to take breaks. Like I had to. My hand was cramping so bad, and I had to do some hand massages and stuff like that to keep them from getting too stiff. But yeah, look what I did with July and August. Oh my goodness. See, when I'm hand lettering, I don't know what I was thinking about those J's, but I went with it. You know, those J's for June and July. When I went to fix it, I didn't even notice July's was off. I did notice August as I was doing it. I was like, shoot. Dang it, I messed it up. And then when I went to go fix August, I noticed July, and I'm like, okay. That's how it's going to go. But you know what? I'm not mad. I just covered it up with some washi tape and just, you know, markered over it. It's a little lighter than the rest, but I'm going to be writing on top of that with black ink anyway. So it's really not a huge deal. Not really. It's just, it's funny that I do all of that and I'm getting toward the end of it. Like, this is the last page that I'm working on. This is just the end of the year quote, and I went ahead and done the end of the year quote. I had thought about saving it until the end of the year, but I thought, man, I came across this quote on Pinterest and I liked it so much that I wanted to get it in there, so I did. And I wanted to practice some more of my handwriting as well. It's really simple. I didn't go with a whole lot of extra pages because, well, for one thing, there wasn't a lot of extra pages to go with in this planner, especially if I want a 2-page weekly spread, which I am more familiar with, so that's the way I did it. And honestly, most of my trackers are, actually all of my trackers are in my gold planner. That's what I'm trying to say. I have nothing but yearly trackers in my gold planner, but I did do some habit tracking you'll see that in February setup, because I thought with some of my things I don't have to break out my goal planner and sit there and color like every single day for those goals that I'm tracking for that current month. And the goals that I am focusing on in February is self-care. I thought that would be the great month to kind of form a few self-care habits. That is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this flip through. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you want to see more of my bullet journal journey. And if you think this is a channel for you, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Oh goodness, yes, this is the channel for you, isn't it? Go ahead and click that subscribe button and comment down below if you have any book or movie, TV show suggestion. I would love to hear what y'all like to watch and read. Thanks everyone for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.